What do you say when a client says you charge too much? Hey you, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor, and I want to talk about this because this is most newbie copywriters' biggest fear. Is they're going to hop on a client call and they're going to say you charge way too much and you're not going to know what to say. So let's just face this fear together and really dig in what you can say in this situation. First things first, I want to remind you that copywriting is a high value skill. And what I mean by that is it's something that can be directly attributed to sales or whatever it is that your copy is trying to do, right? Because the whole point of it is to get people to take action. Usually that's sales. For example, if you write an email sequence, let's say you charge $300, and then that email sequence sells $100 products, that client made $10,000 off of your $300 email sequence. That is a huge ROI, and that is one of the reasons you should feel good about the services you provide as a copywriter, because you can look at your work and say, this is what it's doing for you. Maybe let's choose something that's a little less direct, like a blog. Maybe you're earning affiliate sales, or maybe you're getting email signups. And so it's not something that you can directly look at and see maybe a conversion rate. You can still showcase your value with things like blogs by tracking visitors to a page, email signups from a blog, and you can still point out the value of what you are delivering as a copywriter. So even if numbers intimidate you right now, I want to encourage you to really start to get to know them with all the different aspects of copy that you're providing, because knowing and getting comfortable with your numbers and testing new numbers to kind of back up your copy is going to make this first step, which is reminding them or explaining the value of your copy, much easier. I used to be intimidated when I was first starting out to actually collect numbers because I was always afraid that I would find out what if it didn't work. But I want to say that you probably are going to surprise yourself with how well it is working. At least that has been my experience and has been the experience of many copywriters that I know. So try to push against the fear of not looking at the numbers, because as a copywriter, you should absolutely be collecting them and you should always be working to improve them. That's literally our job. So remember, if you have those numbers, the value that your copy brings to the table is unquestionable, and you should be able to showcase that on your client call. Don't be afraid to call out your competition. Maybe they'll say, well, I saw a person on Upwork or Fiverr charging a fraction of the price. Say, copywriting is one of those things where you really do get what you pay for. Again, this is where having numbers are really going to help you, because if you have results that you've achieved for other clients, you can use that to also back up your value in comparison to your competitors. But honestly, anyone who has ever said to me like, oh, I can get that for like $50 on Fiverr, I generally say, go ahead. Go get that for $50 on Fiverr. That's generally a client you don't really want to work with. The next thing is to focus on the benefits of your service, which may not just be the conversion rate. Sometimes it's how easy it is to work with you, how communicative you are. Maybe you and your client even feel like you're on the same wavelength and it's just a breeze. Maybe you're really good at capturing tone. Maybe you provide an additional service with your copywriting, or maybe you have a really fast and predictable turnaround time. One of the things my clients love best about working with me is that my turnaround time is always a week, with the exception of some really, really big projects. But for the most part, they know they're going to get everything within a week and on the same day of the week. So they know every Thursday, whatever it is we're working on is coming into their inbox. They love that predictability. And that's something that I always make sure that I touch on when I'm talking about the benefits of working with me. Another benefit of working with you might be that you have niche expertise. That's a huge one. If you have expertise in a particular area, that is invaluable to a client, especially, for example, in really specific things like finance or legal or medical. You know, if you have the background to really set yourself up and showcase your expertise in your niche, that is going to be a major benefit for a client to work with you over somebody else who's working generically as a copywriter, for example. The next tip I have for you is to stand your ground on your pricing. Here's the thing. There are just some people in this world that are going to push a little bit to see if they can get anything out of you. And that's not something that needs to be taken personally. Some people just do that. If you cave immediately when somebody suggests that your pricing should be lower or they would prefer it to be lower, you subconsciously communicate to them, or actually pretty overtly communicate to them rather, that you actually don't believe in your prices. And that is a problem, because if you don't believe in your prices, they're not going to believe in your prices. So stand your ground. The next one I want to encourage you to do is to put your prices up on your website, even some of them, because I think that copywriters over the years have kind of developed a little bit of a reputation, unfortunately, for just trying to squeeze as much as they can out of a client rather than really basing it in the value of the type of copy that they are bringing forward. So when you put your prices on your website, you're communicating that you are transparent and you are not just looking to get the best deal you can out of them. It also really helps if somebody thinks that you do have fluctuating prices. I've had people say to me, I'm familiar with the copywriting industry. Please keep that in mind when you develop my proposal. And I will very quickly say, my prices are on my website. So you're going to see exactly what you see on my website and what is public. So keep that in mind. When you have something already public that's out there and you can point to that and say, these are my prices. The other thing about having it on your website is you will generally scare away the people who do not want to pay your prices. And I know as a newbie that can be kind of scary because you want any and all jobs that you can get, but it's actually a good thing because you really don't want to waste all that time and energy that come with really obnoxious and energy-sucking clients. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to just start asking about their budget first. Be the first person to bring it up. It's a completely reasonable and professional question for you to say, what is your budget for marketing or for copywriting or for this website, so that I can better fit your needs, because that is something that we shouldn't be afraid to say. And again, I think this is when you're first starting out and you're not really sure, you're not feeling confident in your prices, but it's absolutely an appropriate question for you to have on a client call. And the more you can get comfortable asking that question and being comfortable with the responses, the easier these calls are going to be. And then eventually you're going to look back and you're going to think, why was I so freaking out about that? It's not that scary. So go ahead, and sometimes it's, I think, really helpful to be the first person to make the move, to be the one who says, hey, let's talk about money. It's totally an option for you. Finally, if they really have a problem with your price, you're not a good fit. So just kindly and gracefully let them go on their way, let them find whatever it is they're looking for, and just know that you did your best and you probably learned a lot on this call. And you did your best to explain the value and the benefits of working with you, because at the end of the day, it's okay. You do not have to nail every client. In fact, you really don't want to. You really want to focus on the right ones for you. And I want to leave you with, if this happens, consider looking for bigger fish, as in bigger businesses that actually have the marketing budget. One of the biggest mistakes I see newbies make is they go for businesses that don't really understand the value of marketing, because they look at people who have their marketing together or look like they maybe already have a copywriter and they think they've got it figured out. Surely they won't want to hire me. And instead, they'll go ahead and look for people who barely have a website, don't have an email list, things like that. And then they get frustrated because they come to find out that these people don't even understand the importance of marketing. So when you hop on the phone and tell them the prices of your copywriting, they're going to think, wow, that's way too expensive, because they just don't get it. And you could spend the time educating them, but I think it's actually better to look for people who have somewhat of an online presence. I mean, if you're doing digital marketing, which is what I'm mostly talking about here, looking for somebody who has somewhat of an online presence and seems to kind of get that it is important to do some marketing for their business. At least start there. And then I want to encourage you to even go for the bigger fish, the dream clients, because just because they look like they have their shit together online doesn't mean that they don't still need your help. That has been one of the biggest realizations I have had in my career as a copywriter. So I hope that helps. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you liked it. This is how I know that you want to see more videos like this. I've been getting more into like the technical aspects of copywriting lately, and I would love to hear from you in the comments if it's been helpful. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys.